The 2015 Victor Frankenstein was not the top of my horror priorities. It actually sat on my Netflix My List for so long that I was starting to weirdly feel kind of guilty for not having actually watched it yet. That happens to you too, right? It's not just me, right? Anyway, I got around to it. I settled down to watch James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe ham it up, and something really weird happened. Something just wasn't right. I realised I've already seen this. Actually, I think a large number of us will have already seen Victor Frankenstein in a different way. I mean, yeah, it will have had a different title, a different cast and a different plot, but I think we've already seen this movie. It's like when I ordered a Virgin White Russian and the idiot bartender brought me a glass of milk. That's because Victor Frankenstein is Sherlock Holmes. The titles make it really weird. I mean, the 2015 Victor Frankenstein is the 2009 Sherlock Holmes movie. Just redressed, given a shot of Listerine and a very vigorous liberal spraying of Febreze. Oh yeah, you really don't have to get far into Victor Frankenstein before you realise you're watching one movie, but you're seeing another. So first, obviously, there is the title. That is a simple, recognisable and highly marketable character name. Obvious. 2, the setting. Now, they're both in Victorian London, but not just set there. They both mix up the high and low society. They both make a big deal of these modern grand panoramas. That's a specific stylistic choice and not a necessity of the setting. The choice to include these big epic shots all help Victor Frankenstein to look like Sherlock Holmes. Thirdly, there is the manic energy in the presentation of the story. Now, from the marketing, I expected this to be a lot more serious fare, but Victor Frankenstein has the same sort of manic energy as Sherlock Holmes, but turned up a notch or two. It really stood out to me in the scene of Frankenstein lancing Igor's cyst. What a sentence. That something weird was going on, and it reminded me of the sort of Sherlock frantically and rapidly making a disguise for himself in this scene. There's also Holmes and Frankenstein both being drunken geniuses with no social understanding, but, you know, it's a lot more exaggerated in Frankenstein. Fourthly, both films have an aristocratic villain, that's maybe just it's a safe target, and they both have a 2v1 fight against a giant enemy. Then there is a stylistic choice to have this sort of genius augmented reality vision. Now in Sherlock Holmes, that is the use of pre-imagined slow motion walkthroughs of fights and similar details. That was kind of cool, I really liked it. In Victor Frankenstein, they superimpose anatomical drawings over the scene, over people. But they both have the job of making you see the genius character sees the world in a very different way. And as a cherry on the cake, the credits are done in almost the same style, that is, drawings on parchment. You know, leaving its own merits entirely aside, it does make watching Victor Frankenstein a really weird experience. It's like to make the 2015 Victor Frankenstein, they just sort of dug up a whole load of old parts of other things and then tried to stitch it together with something different and then just add loads of energy into it to try and give it a new life. And well, they got something. It was very big and I guess impressive, but well, it kind of lacks a soul. And you know, it's kind of like oh darn it, you know, I really wish there were a well-known literary comparison I could make here, but my mind's gone blank. If only I was smart enough to understand Tenet, then I'd be able to make a comparison, I'm sure. Alas. Anyway, if this were a gamer moment, I'd be saying that Victor Frankenstein is a reskinned version of Sherlock Holmes. You know, it's got the same engine, so it's got the same vibe, but it's just got a slightly different flavour. Like Victor Frankenstein is the Vermintide to Sherlock Holmes' Left 4 Dead. I want to stick with the term reskinning because it does feel like a new phenomenon to me. Like, we've seen genre copies before, you know, a movie's successful and so the studio wants to bring out something similar, like 2012 and The Day After Tomorrow, or Deep Impact and Armageddon. You just know that someone went to Bob Weinstein's office and said, hey, Friday the 13th is doing really well. Do you reckon you could get us a script? and so we got The Burning. But reskinning is different, right? I mean, this isn't really the same genre, but the feeling of the film is copied. The vibe is copied. The energy is copied. Anyway, that very distracting thought was on my mind the entire time I watched. So yeah, Victor Frankenstein is Sherlock Holmes, and it's a little weird. Are there any other reskinned movies, or is this the only one, or am I completely wrong? I would like to know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you like what I do, please like the video and subscribe if you aren't subscribed already, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.